So as Gilbert just mentioned, the name of our company is Esports Entertainment Group. We trade on the Nasdaq under the symbol GMBL for gamble. The requisite forward-looking statements, safe harbor language, please review at your leisure. So we are building, basically we feel we're building the future of esports betting and esports entertainment. For those of you who are not familiar with esports, effectively it's organized professional video game play where teams compete against each other for prizes, cash prizes, and organized tournaments are online. The audience is a very valuable audience for advertisers. It's young, it's digital, it's educated, it's affluent, and overwhelmingly it's in the most desirable demographic under 35 years of age and overwhelmingly university college educated. So, you know, this gives you an example, of course, as everybody in this call knows, esports started predominantly in Asia. Seoul, Korea was the birthplace of it, but it's huge across Asia and particularly in China. It's estimated that there's, depending on what you want to consider esports, between 2.5 to 3.5 billion people, whether they're playing mobile at gaming stations, as you see here, or on their console gaming. In the States, 2 out of 3 Americans play games. So the dominance of esports, you know, now we see that League of Legends last year drew a larger audience to the Super Bowl. And for those who aren't familiar, or you probably are, the Super Bowl is the #1 broadcast sporting event in North America. And that's now been exceeded by the League of Legends Championship, and the winner of the Fortnite tournament earns more than Tiger Woods. So getting into the demographics a little bit, we have an audience where 75% of the fans are between 18 and 34. The average income, 43% average household income, 75,000 per year or higher. And the average spending per gamer is growing 60% year over year. You can see the size of the global audience and the growth of the global audience. You can see the brands, both endemic and non-endemic, that are participating in advertising as sponsors. And you can see that this is not the pastime of young teenagers. Overwhelmingly, the largest demographic is between 25 and 34, which is very desirable for all marketers. So we approach the marketing a bit different than everybody else. We have what we call a 3-pillar strategy. We have our esports entertainment infrastructure, which gives us broad exposure to the esports ecosystem, and it's specific to various ways of collecting data, and that's where all our technology is. And then we have our esports wagering. Our primary site is vi.gg. Currently, vi.gg is being repurposed for additional forms of wagering options, and will be submitted into New Jersey and the UK testing labs this December. We have player versus player, and we are adding fantasy esports. In our 3rd pillar, this is more traditional sports betting. We have its huge profitable growth. It's a mature industry, as you know, has a huge pool of existing customers. We acquired a sports book in this area. So we run a sports book out of the UK, which will be moving multi-jurisdictional shortly. So we recently did a transaction where we acquired 4 entities: Helix, ggCircuit, GENJI, and actually LANduel is a product. Helix runs centers. They have 2 of the largest in the US at 10,000 square feet. GENJI is an analytics program which allows us to have better, tighter lines and can create scouting reports, which currently do not exist in esports. ggCircuit is the gaming operating software that most operators run with. There's over 1,000 land-based operations that currently use ggCircuit, including some of the big names in the sector: Vendex, GameWorks, Simplicity, Allied Esports, etc. The list goes on and on. LANduel is a player versus player skill betting platform, which is being developed in tandem with the publishers and the New Jersey Gaming Commission. So it'll be the first of its kind ever. This fleshes out our three-pronged strategy. Over in the entertainment, we have online esport gaming league. This, for those of you who have followed us, this is the platform we've recently signed with the LA Kings, the LA Galaxy, Philadelphia Union, and we're in discussions with about 13 other North American-based sports franchises where we will be running their exclusive tournaments for them. They will send their fans to us. They will play for team prizes, and we get 100% of the revenue for that. Helix Esports is land-based, so those complete the online to land-based. GENJI and ggCircuit are more on the technology side. We own all our own technology. We do not farm out any of our activity. So ggCircuit runs it's the enterprise software that most land-based operations around the world work from. Certain Western world, European and North America. And GENJI is a unique analytical tool developed for those of you who follow the personalities in North America. William Collis sits on two board of advisors to two of the major publishers, and this product is developed with their participation. Then in the center, which is our esports wagering, which we believe will be huge. We believe the addressable market in the near future, 5 years out, will be in the range of $3.5 billion. We believe we can capture 5% of that market. So for us, our company, Esports Entertainment Group, we believe we can get in the range of $180 million in revenue from our online gambling. LANduel, again, the first product of its type. This is player versus player. I'm playing Gilbert in a game of Fortnite or any other title. We bet $10 who's going to get the next kill, who's going to win the match. And depending on your skill, you win or lose. The house, in which case us or any casino partner, this is actually a product we can partner with the casinos, they would take a vig, a rake, if you would. Same as in a poker room kind of concept. But again, this is the only one that's ever been developed with the approval of both the publishers and a gaming commission. In the iGaming space, we've acquired this year Argyle Entertainment, which has the UK-based sports betting site Sport Nation. There's over 100,000 users. The monthly rate will be back to our monthly rate as of December of $1 million a month. And then we are taking Sport Nation. We're going to move it on to our Malta license, so it will be able to market into multiple jurisdictions. That $1 million a month is just in the UK. We're going to open it up to 128 additional countries once we move it. So we do expect enhanced revenues. We also have multiple negotiations with our partners that occur in the UK for additional acquisitions in this area, which brings us revenues, brings us licenses, and then enables us to market esports back into those regulated markets. The Helix, again, these are some pictures of the Helix centers. They're all state of the art. In fact, what really attracted us to Helix during the COVID, as everybody in this call is well aware, there was a limitation on the number of people you could have in your facility. Helix was allocated down to 25%. What they did was they developed software with GENJI and ggCircuit that all the gaming rigs, when they're not being used, are mining cryptocurrency. So even if nobody's using the computers are paying for themselves. The gaming stations are paying for themselves on a daily basis. So this is unique in gaming centers, and this is the type of out of the box thinking that really attracted us to working with Helix. And this is definitely, even during COVID, they're operating at a revenue neutral basis. So we expect great growth revenues going forward. Again, what's the synergies? Well, we gather the people online. We can drive them into the centers for championships, the universities. There's over 55 universities that are currently using ggCircuit. These centers give us a place to have the championship events with these schools and allows us to do a lot of data analytics. ggCircuit. This is the B2B software package. You can see in the upper part of your screen here, Leap, ggRock, and ggCircuit. There are roughly 2 million people currently unique users that use the ggCircuit platform. That gives us a huge database that we can market products to. There's over 62 million player hours on the software. Over here, you can see some of the major brands. ggCircuit software is included in all Lenovo hardware sales. Telia, the telco company in the Nordics. ggCircuit is the software that the telco promotes. GameStop, GameWorks, these are major brands. Currently, I believe we're at 55 universities that use this platform and growing. So this is a huge piece of infrastructure and brings us subscription revenues. Every one of those players pays a subscription every month into the company. So because of the ggCircuit, that positions us uniquely that we can add the player versus player gambling that can start in whether it's Helix centers or universities or casinos or anywhere else. Because of the ggCircuit at home software, once somebody has this account, they would then, this is skill-based, they will then be able to use the ggCircuit at home product to engage with the LANduel PvP betting. We'll be launching this product for the first time in Q1 next year. So the first quarter in calendar 2021. And of course, because of their huge footprint, there's additional advertising revenues we're going to be able to start executing on shortly. The GENJI product, this is an analytical tool that fills a couple of very interesting voids. Those of you who follow esports know that a lot of the casinos and sports books don't carry a lot of esports product. That's simply because they can't get reliable lines and there's not enough depth. Right now, it covers just the major teams in the major tournaments. The GENJI analytics software will allow all titles, as well as going deep from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. In addition to that, it'll offer tighter lines. Last year, they did a test of the 2K League. The GENJI software beat the bookmaking lines 100% of the time. So this is the reliable data lines that the casinos have been looking for. That's one of the reasons. That gives us a sellable product to the casinos, also ensures that vi.gg will have the best lines available. In addition to this, because it has the artificial intelligence, it will scout all streaming across all platforms online and create scouting reports across all titles. Right now, if you run an Overwatch League team out of Texas, you don't know who the top players are coming out of Malaysia, China, Japan, Lithuania, or Estonia. This software will now create that report. We will be able to sell that report to all the teams, all the franchise owners, the publishers, etc. And this software was developed with the publishers' blessing. So that, again, it's a unique piece of software that we will own. And of course, that's where the synergism comes in. That's proprietary, and it will allow us also to use it in the LAN centers. So it's collecting data from the LAN centers, it's collecting data from Vi, it's collecting data from EGL, it's collecting data from ggCircuit. So we're able to aggregate huge amounts of data. EGL has 350,000 players. Vi currently is about 10,000. We're holding back on our marketing. ggCircuit has 2 million. Helix has over 6,000 unique players a day. So we're able to collect massive amounts of data very quickly. And of course, when you're making book, data is everything. So LANduel, just to be clear on what LANduel is, this is a skill-based betting, player versus player betting, like poker, where the house will be able to take a rake. As a result of our announcing our acquisition, we've already been contacted by several casino groups who want to discuss with us how they can bring esports betting into their casinos. We can now supply them with the product for their sports book. We can supply them with the hard. You can see the gaming stations on the floor where people can come in, play, and bet in the casinos. And as mentioned, this is the only product that's been developed with the gaming commissions. It'll eliminate fraud and cheating. We're very excited about this. We feel this will be a massive revenue generator for us. Just to give you, everybody has probably heard the casinos are trying to figure out the whole concept of esports, how to bring them in. We're going to be helping them move from just having slot machines over to having the gaming stations. If you don't have the product the millennials want, they won't come to the casinos. We can now give that turnkey solution. So the purchase price is $43 million. Depending where the share price is, it's going to be paid for between 60 to 80% of that will be in equity. We have a debt vehicle lined up with our banks to pay for the remaining piece, which once we get further down the road, we will do another offering sometime late 2021, maybe 2022 to settle any debt that might be outstanding. Currently, our guidance on fiscal 21 before this acquisition is 13 million. Once we close this acquisition late this year, early next year, those numbers are going to rise to in around 20 million, probably higher. Once we get the final audit numbers, we'll add those in. But our guidance for 2022, just based on what they already have booked, Helix, ggCircuit, we're upping our guidance from 25 million in 2022 to 42 million. And of course, we will be adjusting that once we gain the efficiencies of the two companies, the two groups of companies working together, and once we start consolidating the revenues from the arrangements we have with the major league teams. So to give you some comparables, most multiples in the sector, you can see them down here, ggCircuit, Super League, Skills, etc. And what the median is, you can see in the private sector, GLoot has a 37-time multiple, which seems a little heady. Immortal Gaming, etc. The average, the median on that side is 19 times. So what we have now, we have our own products with Vi, Helix, EGL, etc., Sports Nation. But because of the coalition, combining these, we now have two new verticals that have opened up for us. We now have a turnkey solution for casinos that wish to get into esports, which is most casinos have been looking for an esports solution. We now have it. We can start online with EGL and Vi, drive it into the casinos. We've got the expertise with Helix. We got the ggCircuit infrastructure software. And with GENJI, we have the LANduel product and the odds for their sportsbook. Additionally, a whole new vertical has opened up recently that the big sports teams that cannot have their fans in the stands are engaging with us for their tournaments. They engage with tournaments with their fans, they give swag away, and these will culminate in visitations to the stadium. These sports franchises are now also going to be adding gaming lounges to all their stadiums. And of course, we again are turnkey. With Helix and ggCircuit, we have that in-house expertise. So we can be their online partner, and we can help them with their in-house esports solution. So it opened two new verticals for us that we did not have prior to this acquisition. So in terms of our revenue, what you see here is what the median on the publicly traded markets. We, by the way, were the first iGaming company in the US to list on the Nasdaq. We're the first and only esports company, esports gambling company to list on the Nasdaq. We're the only esports company that has 3 tier 1 licenses. We'll have 4 shortly in New Jersey. You can see where we sit compared to others in the space. We are well below the average, well below the median, which we believe is an opportunity for tremendous upside. So we traded a significant discount to our competitors, hopefully, and of course the knowledge about esports in the Asians market is substantially ahead of the knowledge and understanding in the North American markets. And as you can see by our share price, that has not yet resonated with the investors there. Hopefully we're able to attract some of the more sophisticated market players who are attending this conference. That is who we are. This is the group of companies that represents Esports Entertainment Group. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you for your time. So let's start with the first question, Grant. Here, he was asking you how competitive. This is from Jackson. How competitive is the online gaming sector for the esports, and how can GMBL stand out of all these competitors?
Well, it's It's interesting because there are a lot of esports companies, of course, but they're what we like to refer to as one-trick ponies. Either they run land-based tournaments, or they run online tournaments, or they run online betting. There is, or they're content centric. There's no company that combines all of those. We're the only one. Think of us as a diversified esports portfolio. We have 7 different revenue opportunities. So that makes us very unique, makes us highly competitive. And, at the end of the day, we have a broader offering of products, which allow us, it just opens up so many more verticals for us. So I would say the space is competitive, most definitely, but the product choices are very centered on one option. If that doesn't work, then the company will fail. In our case, we have a broad offering.
Sure. The next question from Donnie is he's asking, does China allow esports betting?
Well, China is a complicated market, of course, because obviously the people in China are well known for enjoying gambling, enjoying betting, the success of that. But the government is not as excited about online gambling. So currently, the sites that do take gambling from China, the Chinese gambling that takes place now is mostly what's referred to as gray market. We do have some large investors in Taiwan. We have a couple of investors from Hong Kong. We have a director based in Seoul, Korea. We will be launching an Asian-facing strategy later next year. Right now, we're concentrated on the European and North American markets, but clearly China is the biggest market on the planet for sports, no question. And we'll eventually have our tournament platform there next year.
Sure. So next question, who are your major shareholders currently for the company?
Overwhelmingly, we are retail. We have over 10,000 retail shareholders. We currently have about 3 institutional investors. What happened, Gilbert, was during our roadshow, which was March of last year. At the conclusion of the roadshow, it looked like we were going to be oversubscribed with all institutional investors. And then, of course, the Russians and Saudis went to war over oil, and COVID hit, and the markets fell apart. So we had to reprice the deal. All the institutional investors pulled out. The retail investors filled in. And right now where we stand is we're spending the majority of our time trying to attract the institutional investors back in. And so the shares are widely distributed over some 10,400 investors currently.
I think thank you for your time here today to explaining the very interesting new sector to us, to the audience.
Well, thank you for having me, Gilbert. Hopefully it's given an interesting option for your investors who want to get involved with investing in esports or gambling.
For sure. Okay, thank you for your time. So thank you, Grant.